On today's episode, we are doing Super Bowl 48 between the old Seahawks Legion of Boom with the Denver Broncos, Peyton Manning in the game. With my pal, teammate, Charissa Thompson. She's the host of Amazon's Thursday Night Football. She's on Kickoff with Me.
You trying to talk about whip routes with me?
God, I love this network.
This guy didn't have his feeling in his goddamn hand. And then they just so happened to have to play the Super Bowl in cold New York.
And it was clear from that first snap, it was over.
This is a Legion of Boom. These guys were generational, and this is defense that'll be talked about in history. They had some ballers.
How deflating is that? You go in at halftime. It's been a crappy first half. We're down 22 points, but like there's a whole second half here, boys.
88 yards for a touchdown.
And then that happens, I'd be like, I work with Richard Sherman now, as you know.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, from the second that happened, I knew it was a wrap.
Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. Welcome to Games with Names presented by WynnBET. On today's episode, we are doing Super Bowl 48 between the old Seahawks Legion of Boom and that high-powered offense with the Denver Broncos, Peyton Manning in the game, with my pal, teammate, Charissa Thompson. She's the host of Amazon's Thursday Night Football. She's on Kickoff with Me. She's got her own podcast, Call Down with Aaron Andrews.
Calm Down with Aaron Andrews.
I've been on that podcast, and it's Calm Down, okay? We all know I can't read. I don't read very well, even though I just picked up a new book, Exodus.
Wait.
Exodus.
New York Times bestseller. Exodus.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever heard of it.
I'm more of a Revelations guy myself.
Yeah, just an old little something. We talk about how she became a football fan, sports fan. She's a full fanatic. She ranks her favorite Seattle athletes. Grew up, born, raised in Seattle. Awesome sports town. And why she never wants to interview Michael Jordan or Ken Griffey, or she never. We talked about.
Yeah.
Did she or did she not?
We're going to have to find out.
I don't know. You're going to have to find out. That's what we call a teaser. A teaser. We going sizzler. We go. You guys remember that from White Man Can't Jump? And then we wrap up the show by hitting the old hotline. Give me my hotline bling.
Miss Jack.
Again, that number is 424-291-2290. Great show. Great show.
A little bit of a news update.
News update.
You know, just kind of little, you know.
What's news?
There's some whispers of a live show.
Live show.
There's some details to be coming, but maybe there's a live show happening potentially in the works.
We're taking
just gonna
this rodeo up on the road.
Just teasing.
You're telling me we're packing up the circus and going on the road? Where?
Where do you think?
Where do you think I'm going? Where do you think I'm going to perform for the people?
East Rutherford, New Jersey. Orchard
No.
Park, New York.
No.
Coral Gables, Florida.
Isn't it Davie, Florida?
I don't know where they are
Davie.
exactly. They moved.
Davie.
Davie?
No. Okay. I got the most punchable face according to Miami Dolphins fans. Yeah, I still remember you. I know who you are. I will find you. And I will let you punch me in the face if I get to swing back and there ain't no stopping.
Great. That was a news update.
Oh. I just got in the mode. Wow. I'm looking forward. We'll see you guys there. Get the buzz going. Games with Names is brought to you by WynnBET. WynnBET brings the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas and Encore Boston Harbor to your phone. Join WynnBET today and bet with the official online gaming product from Wynn Resorts. Let's go. February 2nd, 2014, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey?
A battle between the #1 offense and the #1 defense.
Peyton Manning lines up in the shotgun, and there goes the snap.
Over his head. And this is
Super Bowl 48.
Fun.
Well, welcome to Games with Names presented by WynnBET. Welcome to the studio, Charissa.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I feel honored.
No, the honor is ours.
And you're repping the Ruby Ranch hat, which you know makes me so happy.
Yeah, I had to. You're my gal.
I love you.
My teammate.
It's the best. You're such a great teammate. But you know that like proceeds from that, they go and they help so we can adopt more dogs and more animals. So
what are the proceeds?
That.
Where do we go?
So 501c3 is what I set up. It's like so I bought that ranch, a bunch of land. And what I wanted to do with it is just bring in animals that have been displaced, or like if dogs need a place to go or an extra home. It's like adopting animals, but in a way that they can sort of self-sustain, because I'm not there all the time as well. So I have a woman who takes care of the property, but like the dogs, for example, like they've got to be like outdoor dogs. Like they got to survive. And like the other day, Nala, one of my dogs, she had bite marks on her neck, Tony said. Tony's the woman who takes care of the property. She got into it with a coyote. Like if you go to Ruby Ranch and I rescue you, you got to like be scrappy and like fight it out. But I'm going to give you a home.
Is
you
he
just
rabid?
What's that?
We get rabid tests?
We got rabid tests. Yes.
Rabies?
I know what you meant.
Remember, you're always so scared. I don't know. Like, I just feel funny saying rabies, because I remember that's what you heard all the time from your parents as a kid. If you got bit or you stepped on something, you're this, that, you're going to get rabies.
But you're not wrong, because I was at an I was at a NCAA tournament. I was in Houston. I'm driving down the freeway. I see a dog on the highway. So as you know, I don't have children, but like my dogs and animals are my children. So if I see a dog or some animal that needs to be rescued, like I'm going to do everything I can. So I pull off on the highway, which as we all know, that's not safe. And I'm thinking to myself, like, how am I going to even get this dog? But like I, in good conscience, couldn't keep driving while I saw this dog. Anyway, so I'm able to be like, come on, come here. And the dog like timidly comes over, bites me in the hand. I throw the dog in the back of the car. I end up having to get a rabies shot. I'm late to what I'm supposed to be doing, but the dog was saved. I'm a hero. You're welcome.
Note to self: we should send Charissa to India, because I heard they have a huge stray dog population. But today we are looking at
how much time
Super Bowl 48. Broncos versus the Seahawks.
Yes.
Can you explain why you chose this game?
Being from Seattle, I am so, there could have been a couple games that I could have chose from had it not been for your previous team really screwing that up with the Malcolm Butler interception on the goal line. So I went with the game that we actually won the Super Bowl for a couple different reasons, just because it was such a dominant performance. Like even from the beginning, Seattle was the underdog in that game, and that first snap that Peyton Manning went over his head, and then I believe it was Cliff Averill ended up getting the safety in the end zone. And that was like the beginning of just complete debauchery for the Broncos, because the Seahawks ended up winning by a lot.
A lot. Now, where did this fandom of Seattle come from? How you just like a sport girl growing up?
Yeah,
Is
so
there some story behind it?
Born and raised in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be a sports broadcaster ever since the time I was a little girl. Like my mom used to take me and my brother and my sister to church. Yeah. And like that was cool. But then I realized, I was like, why is dad not coming to church with us? Because my dad would stay home and watch football on Sundays. Yeah. So I was like, well, I don't want to go to church. I want to hang out with dad. So my dad would let me stay home with him. But the only way I was allowed to stay home is if I didn't talk. Like he would ask me questions, and then I could only talk if I answered the question. He'd be like, all right, what's the difference between a false start or offsides, or how many points do you get for a touchdown, or how many yards is it for a first down? So it was like a way for me to hang out with my dad, but also great for him because I was not able to talk unless he asked me questions.
Now, how old were you there?
6.
6?
Mm-hmm. So I was like loved hanging out with my dad. And so then like I just loved the sport and began like a love affair with anyone that I saw on TV. Like I remember seeing Chris Berman, and I was like, I want to work at ESPN. And it was like, so the first time I stepped foot on the campus at ESPN and I saw Chris Berman, I was like, oh my God. Like I imagine it would be the same way for you. Like you always want to play football and then you actually have it come to fruition.
100%, because, like even when we do, like I'm on the set with our guys, I grew up watching Terry on TV, Howie, Michael. I mean, it's a surreal moment, when you get to actually chase down your dreams.
Totally.
And, you have so much gratitude. But my mind's over at, the hanging out with your dad thing. And it brought me instantly to your dad's watching football. You're not allowed to talk. You're sitting there. And with me, I'll be up in my office and I'll be watching games, or I'll have like game film on, and It's so funny. Like Lily just gravitates and she'll just like play under the desk. She just wants to be, you know what I mean?
She wants to be by you.
I think that. So it's so awesome.
Does she realize, I mean, she's getting older now, but does she realize what it is that like you did for a living, or like not really the magnitude of it yet?
She does. I mean, but she sees it because, you know, if we go out sometimes people want to take pictures. Mm-hmm. And I'll just
How is she with that? Is she protective of you? Or
nah.
No?
Nah.
She's like, whatever.
Yeah, I think she likes it.
Oh, cute. That's good.
She's like, that's my dad.
Oh.
You know, I think, you know, she goes, or she'll say something like, did he watch you play football? I go, he watched me play football.
Oh,
yeah,
that's so sweet.
It is.
I still to this day, at anything good, bad, indifferent in my life, my first thought is always my dad's thought. Like, will he be proud of me? Will he be disappointed in me? Like, it's if something good happens in my life, he's like the first person I call. Like, and don't get me wrong, I adore my mother. Yeah. But there's just, I think, this thing where I'm always looking. Maybe this is for therapy. Thank God we're on a couch. Is this suede or is this leather?
This is
my
suede.
Therapist's office?
Suede.
Great.
It's like a leather suede.
What is this, velvet? Actually, this is very nice, which is why I did not want to wear my shoes in this area because, as you know, my other profession is an interior designer, and I love what you've done with the place, Jules.
Thank you.
You are very talented. You're many talents, Julian Edelman.
We're still waiting on what to name the studio. We're getting a bunch of comments in the comment section. For Games with Names, everyone out there, we're watching you guys. Yeah, we are watching you guys. So it's hard for me to explain to Charissa what the studio's name is. We don't have one. What's up with that, Kyler?
Don't rush it yet, though. Like maybe you could take it to a vote.
Yeah. That's what we're doing, right?
We did a poll yesterday.
The
Nut House is leading.
The Nut House. Ever since the Randy Moss story.
Oh my God,
Edelman.
so good. I love that.
I went
with his mom.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So, you know, prior to you coming, I worked with Randy Moss for the first couple of years of the kickoff show. And it was before I would do game breaks. So I didn't have to stay all day. So I would leave right after our show. Yeah. And me and him and Champ Bailey, we would always go to Roscoe's. And I was like, I'm with my big brother. So like, I was okay. Like I would never like go wander around by myself. Yeah. And just like, I was wearing like my full dress, like full makeup. They're being like, what's this chick doing in here, right? And they would always protect me, and they were always so great. And that's like one of the many things I love about working at Fox. And you know this now, for just even your small amount of time that you've been there, like it's a family.
Definitely a family.
They're the best. And like Randy, like the stories, like I could just listen to Randy Moss stories all day.
Randy, he's funny, and it's his accent.
Yeah,
his accent's so funny. I mean, I was just doing I went back to Boston. I went to this academy. So what is it? Thayer. We went to Thayer, and I spoke in front of the whole school. You know, the junior high and the high. And
the junior high and the high.
You know, I went to Kent State. I'm
going to start saying that. Forget the school part. You know what I'm talking about. The junior high and the high.
The junior high and the high. And after you're taking pictures, and all these like little sixth graders, they're all over here like, Edelnut.
That's hysterical.
I'm sitting like, you guys should not be listening to my podcast. There's too many.
Where are your parents? I need to talk to them.
They're listening to New Heights. Come on.
It's for all ages. Yeah. That's not true. We're listening to all the podcasts.
I know.
And you've done a great job.
Thank you, Charissa. Now, we talked about Fox and our, you know, we had a year together, but what's it like in the off season for you?
So off season, I do a lot of my design stuff. So clients know that sort of I'm unavailable. For the first couple of years I did it, I would try to do both. And then now with the addition of Amazon, it's not fair to A, the client, or B, my...
Design for what?
Interior design. Okay. So I started an interior design company during COVID when sports was dormant, and I was like, I have a lot of idle time, and that's not good for me. So I started an interior design company called House and Home. House and Home. And to date, we're 3 years in, and we've done 46 projects. And it's myself and then 2 other girls that I have, women I have that work with me. And it's awesome. It's like a great creative...
No men?
No men, but I might hire you if you're available, because walking around your gorgeous house, like you're already hired. This is a great resume. Just hand over pictures of your house. And
I don't know the names. I just pick what you like.
But that's the thing. Like I didn't go to school to be a broadcaster. I went to school to be a lawyer as like in case I couldn't be a broadcaster. I needed a backup plan. So I don't believe that you like have to have a degree in anything. If it comes naturally to you, if you're willing to work hard and get it, and you have people that support you along the way, like a degree doesn't mean any. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Of course, a degree is vital for a lot of different reasons, and I'm glad that I went and got my undergrad degree. But it doesn't have anything to do with what I'm doing now.
This is an information age. You can learn everything on your phone, and there's a lot of people that do that. And it's pretty crazy to see how much creativity has been. That's one of the great things about technology is the creativity that you're allowed to see from other people. We used to talk about what it looked like, in Spain or, go to Italy. Yeah. Now you're getting to see the architectural structures and the design at, palm of your hand, and then you can formulate and pick and be inspired by it. It's pretty
a blessing
crazy.
And a curse, right? Technology in general. And I don't have children, so I can't.
Oh, it's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's the part for me where I look at parents and I'm thinking to myself, like, just the exposure. Like I remember the first time I was watching a rated R movie. It was Pretty Woman, and my parents, like, of course, like, first of all, I shouldn't have even been watching that movie at like 11, but like I would have to cover my eyes during the majority of the scenes. And now it's like a kid at any age, if they have an iPad with internet, like can find anything that they want.
Parental controls,
how do you,
Charissa. Parental controls.
Remember when we had those on our CDs, like the Too Short CD? No,
parental advisory.
Parental advisory, yeah.
Like, I remember. I used to go Blockbuster or Warehouse, pick up my CDs.
For sure. What was the first one that you had with parental
Ace of
advisory?
Base.
Ace of Base had
my mom
parental
got
advisory?
it for you. It was like 19. No, my first.
Oh, I was like,
the
I
Chronic.
saw the sign. What remix did you have?
My first CD.
I was like, my first CD. No, the first CD with parental advisory.
It was probably the Chronic.
That's mine.
Dr. Dre.
For sure. I think that was a lot of people's
Because
our
was that
age.
2001?
Well, how old are you?
I'm 37.
20. He went 20. Well, who wishes that he was 20? Yeah. I'm 19. I'm 41, so I'm older than you, obviously. But yeah, I think that was my
look
first
a day
show.
over 27, Charissa.
Yeah. My face hasn't moved for 20 years. The Botox.
Get out of here. You did great.
It's just because I'm so happy working with my new teammate on kickoff.
Well, speaking of teammate, if you're the veteran, how was my first year on the show?
You were fantastic, and you know that
I want a grade. Am I a C? Am I a C student?
You were B+. All
right.
Because there's always room for improvement.
Always.
I'm 19 years into this thing, and I don't ever want to be an A+. Or I don't even want to be an A. I want to be an A-. So
C's get degrees, baby.
Always. Yeah, but in the world of, you're a competitor, and you want to be great.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that there's in broadcasting, you have, first of all, like, you're naturally charismatic, you're extroverted already, you have a presence about you, you're very secure in who you are. So you already have a lot of the things like going onto television that are like recipes for success. Because if you go onto TV and you don't know who you are, you're not confident, like you're going to be impressionable. And then you're going to have one person say one thing and now you're all rattled and insecure. Like who you are, whether it's like you're dressing yourself or the things that you say or not being afraid to say things. I'll get in trouble because I say everything that's on my mind, clearly. So I need to have a governor. But you are exactly who you are on TV is who you are off TV. So I think that's like, don't ever lose that.
Mostly.
Well, parental advisory.
We can keep this thing PG-13, Air coach.
No.
All right. So
you're very natural. And you know what else I really, really loved, like with working with you, is I'm a big, hence why I chose this as a profession, or luckily I've been lucky enough to do it as long as I have, being a part of a team. Like you are a great teammate.
Yeah.
Like you are the first person to say like, what can I do to get better? Or how can I help the team? Or, you're not a me guy.
Yeah.
And there's, success leaves clues. And so your trail of success has left a lot of clues about who you are. And after a while, you can try to fake that, but you'll get exposed. Yeah. You are successful because of the things that you've done, and you've carried that now over into this second career.
I appreciate that.
It's true.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Carissa was an unbelievable teammate. I was really nervous getting into this thing. I know I did TV for 2 years before, but that was live to tape. When that red light goes on.
Yeah. It's different.
It's different.
Yep.
And you were so comforting, and you were such a great resource. I mean, first day I get on set, I get a little diary. She gave me a gift.
You're so great.
So I write in my diary. I showed her my office. She didn't see that my diary was on the table.
You're so sweet.
My diary was on my table, so I wrapped my diary today at Fox.
Well,
Uncle Terry came in the middle of a segment, and he tripped and made me mess up my thought, and then
Dear diary. First of all, it was a journal for you to write any notes that you wanted. But if you made it a diary, even better.
It's my diary now.
Great. Then let's keep it that way.
No,
I can't wait to see your latest entry. But no, I'm very, very, very lucky to be your teammate. And overall, like, as you saw from the Fox way, like, is they want you to be comfortable, and they're going to help, make people feel as comfortable as you can to a fault.
They were awesome. You can tell that they care about everyone there, and it definitely feels like a team. Speaking of teams, though.
Oh, segue. Look at my professional. Okay.
Favorite team? Fox crew or Amazon crew?
Oh,
what
he's
team
asking
we
the
going?
hard-hitting questions.
What are we going? Who's a better crew?
There's no way I'm ever going to answer
And
that
you can't
question
say
because
I
there
have.
isn't an answer.
You can't say you don't have a favorite kid, because I was my parents' favorite kid. That's a full lie. Everyone has a favorite kid.
You know what? I agree with that. My parents always say I'm their favorite. But I would say this: those are two very different teams.
Yeah.
In the sense that, like,
Oh, so you're going apples and oranges on me?
yeah,
You're going apples and oranges.
Well, you have to, because one, you're out at games on the road. Another one, you're in the studio, and we are only together for like an hour. I wish that, like, our crew was also on the road.
I know.
Because you know how it is. Like, if you go on a road trip, let's say whether it's you start dating someone, or it's a girlfriend or boyfriend or a friend, or a group of friends, you find out real quickly who people are when you travel with them. Like, who's patient, who's not, who's making the reservation, who's not picking up the tab. Like, there's a lot of exposure in traveling with people. So I want our crew, like, my challenge to us in this off season is to do a trip together.
Isn't there a retreat or something?
Yeah, it's a seminar, but that's with, like, everyone. I'm just talking about, like, our crew. Team bonding.
What about Fitzy? Is he trying to take, who's better dressed, me or Fitz?
Fitz is, oh, that's tough. You, like, actually have style. Fitz just takes anything he finds and wears it with such confidence that it becomes his style. Like, he would go in each city we went to, like, this dude would randomly find a store, and whether it was like wearing a top hat or a sequins jacket or like something, he would just, like, show up in it. And we're like, where did you get that? So yeah, he doesn't have the same elevated style you do, but his. No,
Fitz, I didn't I hit
has
you
he
up
been on the podcast?
He
yet?
hasn't.
Oh,
we got to get Fitzy on.
He's in town tomorrow. Hey, speaking of that, well, we're all going to this thing tomorrow, and then you can come meet up with us after.
Where?
It's a birthday party.
I have a birthday party tomorrow.
Yeah, whose birthday party?
Beep.
Oh,
No.
mine's beep.
Mine's beep. Not as cool as that, but beep. All right, now let's segue. We have a segment where we go back in time.
Ooh, fun.
This of the game that we're talking about. This game took place February 2nd, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about pop culture.
That's so sad.
It's crazy that's 10 years ago.
I said 20 years ago. I feel
it's
that
crazy.
It's 20 years ago, but it's a decade since that's happened.
No, this was a huge year in my life.
Okay, tell me everything.
This was a huge year. Well, this is when I had my first big year of offensive production. Mm-hmm. We lost in the AFC Championship to go to, and this was like a new generation Pat team transitioning from that 07 team. Yep. And we were going and building the new team, so this was like my first year where I had success individually, played well in the playoffs, and the rest is history from this.
From judging by your bookshelf. Hey, do you guys get a replica Lombardi?
You can buy one.
You don't.
Come on, ain't nothing free in the NFL.
No kidding. I know that. Not even in the NFL.
Payroll deduct, Charissa.
I won an Emmy when I worked at Extra, and I was like, oh, cool. I can't wait for it to show up. They're like, no, you got to buy that. I'm like, I have to buy my own award?
Yeah.
I'll pay double and get it here faster. Okay, I was just curious if they would give you like a little replica. You got to buy those.
It's Tiffany's too, so it's expensive. It's like $12,000 or something.
I saw your couch. You can afford the Tiffany's mock-up Lombardi.
What are you talking about? That
I'm gonna
that
do
rust bucket, that old rust bucket. Let's go back into this time, Chris. Stop talking about my house.
Here we go. It's so nice.
Number one movie, Frozen. You remember this?
That was 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Elsa, like Frozen, the kids
Do you
movie?
wanna make a song?
Time out. That was 10 years ago? I'm actually having a hard time.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
What?
I mean, this movie still holds up. Kids
I was
still
just going
love
to
it.
say, Lily had to be into this.
Well, she loved it for the first 4 years of her life, like nothing but Frozen.
Right.
But then, like, I want to say, like 2 years ago, when she hit when she went to school, that's what it was. She gets around other kids, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't like Frozen anymore. That's for little
it's not
kids,
cool
Dad.
anymore?
It's for little kids."
Got it. Was
Like-
Olaf the
Zoloft, snowman.
Zoloft. This guy's
Gad.
on Zoloft. Is that an antidepressant?
Is that his name?
Olaf.
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 I forgot.
Yeah. Zoloft is antidepressant.
Yeah, but what's the?
Olaf.
I think we're adding a Z. Olaf.
Olaf.
But we'll go with Zoloft. This guy, he was sad.
I'm, you work with me on TV, and
By
I'm
the
not
way-
a pronunciation guy.
The thing that kills me about any prescription commercial is all the side effects. Like if you just listen, and like we're one step away from death, like on any of these things. And who's the person that comes up with prescription names? I want to be either that person or the person that comes up with nail polish colors.
Some marketing company.
I don't know who these people are, but they're making a lot of money coming up with names for things that like, what? Why are we naming, like, why Zoloft?
Z's kind of tight. Sounds important. What do you got over there, Kyle? What?
Well, I was just thinking that our show's Games with Names. We could use someone that could name stuff because games like this that are shitty that don't have a name, you need someone to come name them.
Well, I'm gonna find who comes up with the nail polish colors because like Lincoln Park After Dark, like that's a nail polish. I don't know what's going on with this color. This needs to come
Lincoln
off.
Park After Dark. That's like, what is that? Like some rock chick color?
That's black.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's,
exactly.
I mean,
See?
that's marketing.
Bubble bath is another big one for OPI.
Blue?
How many bubble baths do you know are blue?
Well, you could be blue or white. Like what is a bubble bath?
What do you mean?
Lily's got white bubbles, and then you see the blue water. Because you usually have like a dropping salt that you put in
well,
there.
maybe because the pink is like my first. It's like
Pink?
girly, like bubble baths.
Number one song, Dark Horse by Katy Perry featuring Juicy J. Which one was that?
I don't remember Dark Horse.
Around this time, actor Philip Seymour Hoffman dies actually on this day. I think I remember that. We were snowed in because I went to the Super Bowl for this Super Bowl.
I don't remember that.
And I remember just seeing it on social or something. It was sad.
Make
it rain!
That was fun.
Remember
Right,
that was like
of
his,
course. Yeah.
I'm open. Man, that
And
was sad.
Sharding would be mine to remember from that scene.
The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon premiered.
It
That's
feels like
crazy.
he's been on a lot longer than 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I still remember Leno a little because we're part of that.
Yeah.
Isn't Leno? Did he take over for Leno?
Yeah,
or,
he did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
know what
for
I mean?
Conan,
Conan.
Oh,
who took over for Leno.
Wow, that's two. I'm two out. That's
Yeah,
aging.
but Conan was not there for
He was-
very
he was
long. And
quick.
it
Conan was
weird.
quick, yeah.
And then Leno went
Conan's fine,
back,
though.
maybe.
I like
Yeah,
Conan.
I like Conan.
You know what's great about Jimmy Fallon is that SNL background is so it's so beneficial to him.
So fun.
Because he can just do improv anything, and the games. Like the games are really fun that he does.
He's really talented. He can sing in key and stuff,
Yeah.
and he could do that. He's really good at like rapping. He can dance. Like I'm not saying he's like Chris Brown, but he can like, he can cut a rug a little bit. Jimmy Fallon. I did his
Cut
show
a
with
rug, this
Bill.
guy.
Me and Bill went on his show after a Super Bowl, and he was
and
fun.
you and Bill were guests together.
Yeah.
I need to know that story. How does that happen?
Right after the Super Bowl, Atlanta, they asked us if we wanted to go on. Stacey James came up to, you want to go do Fallon with Bill? I was like, hell yeah.
Oh my God, in his heartbeat. So wait, how was he?
He was fun.
Yeah?
I mean, Bill, that's the only time, you can bank on that. Bill is smiling, having a good time. I'm sure like 5 days later he's on to the draft, but
Yeah.
He's a fun guy. We had some awesome conversations. We took a jet together to New York right after the Super Bowl, and we
There's
had
no
some,
like weird awkwardness in conversation. Like you're all
definitely. There's always awkwardness with Bill. I mean, he's socially awkward, but like in a cool that's my socially awkward friend. Not like I probably could say that now. That's like your awkward.
Wonder if you
Yeah.
introduced him as your socially awkward friend.
I'm gonna maybe
That
I
would
say
be
that.
incredible.
I need to get Bill on this goddamn couch. I
Yeah,
swear,
if
if
you
he does
do.
McAfee before he does my
Oh
show,
no,
that would hurt me.
It should hurt your feelings.
It
That's your
hurt me.
coach.
Okay, I didn't coach. I didn't take all those team-friendly deals
Right.
for just nothing.
Show me the receipts on that. Your socially awkward friend needs to be right here sooner than later.
What do we got? Yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah. Julian, what is this look?
That's playoff, baby.
Jules, that doesn't even look like you. You look like you're an extra in Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. Like, your actual face doesn't, maybe because it's halfway covered, but like, what are LBs at that point?
198. I'm like 5 pounds under.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe just the camera, as you know, people that are on camera, it adds 10 pounds.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, you look thick there.
I'm 2C thick.
Yeah.
I'm 2C thick.
Are you guys holding hands too?
Yeah. What did they say? They said they were addressing that coach is a hard ass.
Yeah.
I think it came to like he said we do kumbaya and like we held hands and look at how we held hands. It was so awkward. He held my hand so the holding of the hand was awkward. I didn't know how to react, but we're on live TV or
it's so good.
Old coach.
Oh man,
it was great to see him smile. Where do you think he's going? Is he an Atlanta Falcon right now?
You would know better than me. Where do you see him actually going? I just know this. He wouldn't go somewhere where he doesn't have ability to have, autonomy to do what he wants. He can't go. He was never going to go to Dallas, right? Like him and Jerry, like that would never be an option.
I think there has to be an understanding. I think he
correct.
A lot of people have a misnarrative that Bill's not a collaborative guy. Yeah, he wants it his way, but he does take in scheme, knowledge, plays, info, anything. He'll take that in until he's burnt by it. And if you burn him, then he says, we did it. That's what I've seen. I don't know. I don't know for a fact, but that's what I've felt over the years.
So put your analyst hat on then and tell me where you think Bill Belichick will end up.
Well, he'll probably end up in Atlanta. They're about to have their second interview, but I wish he would have went to Philadelphia.
So you're already willing to write Nick Sirianni off, huh?
You know how good your head coach is after success, because after success, players, coaches, everyone leaves, and the only thing that keeps the nucleus together usually is the head coach. Okay, this is the National Football League. Every year you're going to have a new player, a new coach. Bill used to say it all the time, and
losing both coordinators.
Lost both coordinators.
So you don't take that into consideration?
I do take that in consideration, but where's the plan for if this were to happen? And then I didn't like
you're 10-1. You're 10-1. So at some point, and then they reach that part in that schedule.
And that's where you get to coaching.
Frickin' gauntlet.
Tackling. Just the amount of juice they didn't have in that playoff game tells me something in that building's not right. Okay? The juice level. How they came how many missed tackles they had? They had like 15 missed tackles. That's effort. They basically kind of quit.
Effort.
They kind of quit.
Okay. But is that reason enough when in his second year takes his team to the Super Bowl?
I don't know, but with Philadelphia in their situation, they got rid of Doug Peterson 2 years after. Okay, and Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. So, Roseman, he's a pretty sharp fella. They got a good squad out there.
Yeah, Howie Roseman and, of course, Jeffrey Lurie is like, there's...
I'm not calling for no one's job, but...
No. But you wouldn't... We just did, though. You thought that Bill should end up there.
I'm telling you right now, if Bill Belichick was there, they're 15% better. Off top. And I think he has a respect, and him and Roseman, they kind of, guys that have been around... I think he'd be able to. He'd be willing to work with them. Bill would, let him do what he does, but still want an opinion at the table and talk about the ingredients that he's going to cook with.
Well, I know that this will air in a couple of weeks, but what was your biggest surprise this season? Was it the fall of the Eagles, or was there another story?
No, that's historically like what happens with Super Bowl losers. So, but in the back end of the season, you don't want to see that, like how they were performing. I mean, they lost 6 of their last 7. That's
Seattle did the same thing a little bit. They lost 5 or 7.
Yeah. My biggest surprise this year. I was really surprised with the Rams.
Okay.
And I was really impressed.
This was supposed to be a rebuilding year.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, we looked on paper, and we're talking about, preseason. We're talking 4 or 5 games. Where are they going to be drafting to get some, and they come out and how they finished is a product of their head coach and their culture and
the leadership on both sides of the ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. They didn't come out hot. They still had to learn their team.
Yep.
But when it came to nut cutting time, right after Thanksgiving, what happened? They started playing their best football, and they found some gems in the draft with Kyron Williams in the 5th round 2 years ago.
You know that. I mean, better than anyone.
Puka Nacua, that's an unbelievable pick. So you got to tip your cap to Les Snead. I just think that's a pretty cool thing what they did with how they mortgaged the future to get Matthew Stafford and that Super Bowl team that they won in 19. Like, that was cool, but like we've always seen those teams just die off.
And they're 1 point away from 2 points. I mean, they lost by 1 point to Detroit, but like had that defense made a stop, or if you put, you in the red zone, you actually turn those field goals into touchdowns like that. It wasn't like a runaway for the Lions. By any
what?
stretch.
They super overachieved,
yeah.
and they're going to use this experience, and they found a lot of things from this season. Certain players got experience, younger linemen, that they could build off of this season, and they're going to be in a lot better situation going next year from this season. So I'm really impressed with what they did. Everywhere. Coaching, GM, the players played.
Well, yeah,
effort. I mean, there's a whole lot of no names on that defense, and they held Detroit, who was top 5 offense, to 23 points.
There was a lot of questions even in the offseason about Sean coming back and would Aaron come back, like a lot of just movement on that side. Yeah. So, yeah, for sure.
Let's go back into the sports world. Let's do 2014, famous Jameis Winston got his Heisman. He was a Heisman winner and NCAA champion. We did that with Bert Kreischer. We talked that game with Bert on here. NFL MVP, Peyton Manning, and I think to this point, or till last year, an MVP never won a Super Bowl. Or it was like back in like the 70s. It was a huge span where if you were the MVP, you guys usually didn't win. We heard that speech a couple times.
Did you?
In New England. Bill would always say, I think he had one of those off-season cut-ups. This guy won the MVP. They didn't win this, one of those things.
Yeah. 11 players have done it, including Terry Bradshaw. The last one before Patrick Mahomes did it in 2022 was Kurt Warner in 1999. Also a guest of the show. So it was, it was like 23 years that there wasn't one.
23 years?
Yeah.
23 years since someone had won a Super Bowl. Well, he didn't win the Super Bowl.
MVP and
Super Bowl. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Oh, Bubba Watson won the Masters in his second in 3 years. The lefty.
Remember, he wore a white watch. Yeah. That was Bubba's big thing.
I loved Bubba. He was always fun to watch. I love watching the Masters.
Have you been to the Masters?
No.
What?
I've played Augusta, but I've never been to the Masters.
The Masters. You know why it's my favorite sporting event to go to? Is that's a wink to say that he got to play Augusta?
Yeah.
He's just doing a little.
Yeah. He's doing, I'm adorable. Yeah. I got to play Augusta. Well, that is amazing. I'll tell you why I am my dad's favorite, not just because I would not talk when he was watching sports, but because I got my dad on Augusta. I took my dad to the Masters 2019. Tiger wins. I wake up at 4:00 in the morning. I put chairs down at Amen Corner. So like it was the implosion. Like Tiger to start the day on Sunday, it was like a lot of guys would have had to wet the bed, and they did. Koepka fell off. Like there was like 3 or 4 guys that just ate it on that corner. And then, so Tiger rounds a corner, and then I know other guys that are sitting front row 16. I get him second row. At 16, he birdies 16, and then it's like, oh my God, Tiger Woods is going to win the Masters. And he does. And so I got my dad that, and then I got my dad on Augusta 2 years later.
Jeez, I hope my daughter does this kind of
Lily,
stuff.
I got you, girl. I got you. Yeah, you got to hook your dad up with those things. But the reason I love the Masters more than any other tournament, not just for that incredible memory, because it's still, to this day, will be forever my
cheapest menu.
My favorite sports. Okay, well that. And you can't have your cell phones. Yeah. So it is the only sporting event that you can go to that people are actually engaged in what's happening. They're actually engaged in the people that are there with you. Like, it's so refreshing, especially. And did you ever see that picture when LeBron won the scoring title and everyone in Staples Center, crypto, whatever, had their phones out? Do you know the only person in that picture that didn't have their phone out? Phil Knight. I want to frame it. It's so sick because it's the one guy in the crowd that's like, it's cool. Like I've seen so many moments I want to experience it where everyone else is like, oh, I want it from my phone. I want to like have that memory on my phone instead of actually taking the memory in. And the Masters, you take it all in. So like me sitting with my dad and like
full phone Nazis there.
Like, oh my God, if you get caught with if they see that you've like snuck your phone in or anything, you are banned for life. Like who's risking that?
Oh my, yeah.
Losers.
They were like pretty on top of it, even if you were playing there.
You should be. A tradition.
You weren't even allowed to bring it out. I mean,
any other. In the words of Jim
the
Nance,
Augusta
there's
police
the shot.
There
Look
it is.
And look who down there doesn't have his phone out.
Oh, Phil.
Oh, Phil. Phil.
I mean,
he
don't need it. He's just looking at his shoe real quick. Look
he's
at him.
Just looking at
look at his eyes. His eyeballs looking at his shoe, I bet.
I mean, it's hard to miss. But yeah, I just love that because that's what sporting events today are. And at the Masters, no matter what year it is,
I never heard that. That's a cool perspective to
like
think
that.
about. That's awesome. Serena Williams won the U.S. Open without losing a single set.
What a beast! You want to talk about
the entire
dominance.
tournament?
You know, we talk all the time. You know, obviously, I'm a team person. Like I played basketball growing up, played volleyball, I played soccer. Like I was always part of a team. I never played an individual sport. But when you talk about pressure, that especially at your guys' level and with the team that you were on, and the expectations, especially after winning. Imagine the pressure on an individual.
Golf, fighting,
you have no one else
tennis. You're in there by yourself.
Right. Like I love a team, but like those are the G's where you're like, oh my God, like you are solo out there.
No, she was a monster. Like,
did you watch her documentary?
I did. I watched her documentary.
Yep.
I watched the movie. I've always loved Serena Williams. The reason why I watched golf was because of Tiger.
Yeah.
The reason I ever started watching women tennis is because of Serena.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And I saw her at the U.S. Open in 16, I think, because we opened up the week, or 17. I saw the Federer and Djokovic final.
Ooh.
And I saw there.
That's good.
But she was like,
I thought that said scandals in 2014.
No,
I was like, God, another
us,
one,
never
Carissa?
us.
No, this is a scandal-free podcast. Okay, you ain't the only one with a scandal over there. Okay, all right, Carissa.
Welcome everybody to Fox NFL Kickoff. Let's do a countdown of best scandals. Julian, you go first. All right, social.
This is our social. This is our social, not scandal. Social in 2014.
Oh my God, this is hysterical. Yeah.
We got Charissa Thompson. I love my job so much.
Yes, I do love my job so much because that was obviously the New York Super Bowl. So we were broadcasting all week from Times Square. We had set up our sets in the middle of Times Square and it was incredible. I mean, Times Square is in and of itself is its own, beast, but then you do shows from there. So that was cool.
Mine was snowed in, but not really, but kinda. Well, movies and smoothies.
Also, how stupid when you look at the stuff that we used to write. Like, love running into the goat, Jerry Rice. Oh, really, Carissa? Did you just run into him? You're on a red carpet with a microphone, asshole, and they told you you'd be interviewing him. Stop acting like it was so casual that you just ran into Jerry Rice. Oh, my God. Speaking of running into Jerry Rice, for real, I am at the Masters with my father. Mm-hmm. My dad comes out of the bathroom. Joe Montana comes out of the bathroom right after him. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, Dad, because Joe and I had done different events together and we knew each other. So I was like, introduced him. So my dad was already like, oh my God, this is like great, Joe Montana. Guess who comes around the corner? Jerry Rice. I was like, only at Augusta, out in front of the bathrooms, could I have Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, and my dad like all meet together.
So awesome.
It was so great. And guess what? There's no picture for it because you can't have your phones. But it was a great memory.
It's a good story.
Great running into the goat. That was a loser. What is yours? Sorry, Brady.
Oh yeah, what do you got over there?
Jules in 2014 was named 4th most fashionable Bostonite.
Oh.
Behind 4th.
Marina Menounos, Emerson grad.
Yes.
Giselle, obviously.
Uh-huh.
And someone named Christina Pierce.
Oh.
Of the Christina Pierce Agency.
Oh, okay.
But I did beat Brady.
He was number 10.
Sorry, TB.
By the way, you still have incredible style. So
I'm just wearing a holy shirt.
Well, it's probably a very expensive holy shirt.
This just ain't no believer. Ain't no believer.
Once you make that 4th best Boston list, you just throw on a white T-shirt.
We'll be right back after this quick break. Games with Names is brought to you by my friends at WynnBET. WynnBET is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas and Encore Boston Harbor to online sports betting. Whether you're a recreational player or a serious handicapper, WynnBET is your ticket to every exciting wager, from straight-up bets to parlays, teasers, and any prop bet you can dream up. All players have access to Wynn Rewards, and you can redeem them for resort credit in Las Vegas and Boston. Sign up today and get in the game online, or visit Boston Sportsbook at Encore Boston Harbor. There's no better way to enjoy sports with a little extra winnings in your pocket. Betting is a team sport. Join my team, the WynnBET team, and bet with the best.
Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBET is available. Terms and conditions at wynnbet.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Kylie, can we get into this game? Can you break down and set the stage for these old Denver Broncos that sent us home in fucking 2013 at the AFC Championship, where we prayed for snow, sleet, and everything, and we wake up into Denver in January, and it's fucking 75 and sunny, perfect conditions for an aging quarterback. Can you set the stage?
Is that why you're so happy that I picked this game?
Let the boy watch. I said, set the stage.
So 2013 Broncos were 13-3. They won the AFC West. They were number one seed in the AFC. Head coach John Fox, offensive coordinator Adam Gase, and DC Jack Del Rio. Notable Pro Bowlers were Peyton Manning, Demaryius Thomas, Julius
Thomas.
Actually,
I got to think. Maybe this was like what is it called?
Serendipity?
Divine intervention?
What is that? What is that? Maybe, or something that
depends.
happens for a reason?
Divine intervention is if like something happened that like precluded you from getting to the Super Bowl, and you were like, oh, it was great. Like, I don't think that applies to what
maybe it was because we didn't go to the Super Bowl, but because of this game, the New York Jets hired Adam Gase as their head coach, and we owned the Jets.
So then there you go.
So that is it.
Divine intervention.
Is it
that
divine
works
intervention?
In that situation, it works.
All right. Thank you. All right, my bad, Kylie.
Serendipity.
For that.
That's a fun
great
word.
movie. I like that movie.
What was that? Was
Serendipity,
that John
it's
something?
adorable. Yeah, I'm terrible with like celebrity names. That's why I stopped working in entertainment. I would be on the red carpet. I'd be like, who is that? They're like, Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm like, oh. I literally would have.
You would not say that to Leo.
I'm telling you,
you would not say that to Leo.
Maybe
this
not
is a pro Leo podcast, okay?
Oh, no, for sure. But I was so bad at remembering like celebrities' names. I didn't know who any of these people were. Like, yes, okay, maybe like the big five, but after that, I was like,
I'm with you.
Like Charlie Hunnam or Hunnam or whatever his name is. No idea who that dude was.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Okay, well,
but you show me a movie or a picture, I'd be like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That's exactly what I do. And I was supposed to be working in entertainment, and Mario Lopez at one point goes, Carissa, how do you work in entertainment? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I don't care.
What a cool flex right there. Yeah, Mario Lopez.
I did.
AC Slater.
I worked with him for 3 years.
AC Slater.
We actually went on this game show together, and it was like naming different celebrities, and I was his teammate in, and I got all of them wrong. He was pissed. Like Mario's a
That's
big
where this came from.
Competitor.
The game show.
It did. He was so mad at me. He's like, "What is wrong with you? How do you not know any of this?"
He's a spectacular dancer.
Oh, spectacular! Yeah. Like that's like
he did the dance. He won it, didn't he?
He won Dance with the Stars. He was on Broadway. That's where he met his
wife,
Courtney.
I remember him being a great dancer on Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Like he did the little twirl thing once. I was like, what the fuck? AC Slater? I thought he was the muscle guy.
Meanwhile, I'd be like, I've torn ACL, not AC Slater. No dance moves for me. I could never go on Dancing with the Stars.
They've asked me for like the last 10 years.
Would you do it?
No.
Obviously, you haven't. But
no, I'm not dancing on the stars.
I'll dance on the ceiling, but I will not dance on the stars.
Exactly.
So this was a record-breaking offense. Kicker Matt Prater. They averaged 37.9 points per game.
Wait a minute. Hand up.
Yep.
63-yarder. Was that year or that was the Tebow year?
Let me look.
He had a 63-yarder that was
the record, right?
Part of the
tied the record with Dempsey.
That was part of the Tebow thing that was like, only Tebow is going to get this dude to crush a 63-yarder.
I mean,
What would Jesus do? I mean,
Tebow, he got God on his side.
By the way, the fact that when Bill said, I haven't seen this many cameras here since we
Bill?
signed Tebow, I said, this guy's already got jokes on the way out the door.
I mean, Bill's got encyclopedia mind. Everyone forgets that. This guy's a fucking computer. You remember Deflategate? I'm no Charissa from what is it? The Mona Lisa DeVito. What is it?
Mona Lisa DeVito.
Yeah.
And then
remember
he had
from Deflategate, he brought in from My Cousin Vinny.
And then he also had the line about Taylor Swift. He's like, she's had a lot of hits, or Travis has taken a lot of hits or something like that, but no bigger than Taylor Swift. I was like, this guy. Bill's got it.
He got it.
Yeah.
Maybe he's my comedian friend.
Yeah.
I'll introduce him, not my antisocial friend. Yeah, this guy's a social butterfly.
So it was this season. Matt Prater hit a 64-yard field goal.
Look at Chris dropping knowledge.
Well, because I was like, I knew that it was that like season or something.
Yes, December.
64 yards.
Look at that. See, we give special teamers love on Games with Names. Charissa Thompson over
Matt
here
Prater,
dropping
though. Yeah.
Prater knowledge.
Hey.
For the kicker.
Well, you should. Adam Vinatieri. I mean,
I didn't play with him.
I know you did.
I know you did. Steve Gostkowski.
But I'm talking about Vinatieri bringing
you,
home the Lombardi.
I was at the Super Bowl,
Nick Folk, too.
your last Super Bowl, and Gostkowski's kids like came into the elevator, just like they're doing the thing, all the people going in. They just hit every single button.
Oh, tough move. That's
Slade.
Like, get
I think that's his name.
Okay, so here's some stats on the Broncos offense.
That kid.
So they had 37.9 points per game. They put up 7,317 total yards. They had 606 points, which was a regular season record for teams playing 16 games or 16 games.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning was named NFL MVP and threw for 55 touchdowns, which broke Tom's record. And he threw
Of what? 50?
I think it was 50. And then had 5,477 yards. Some notable guys on this team also were Noshawn Moreno, Wes Welker's first season, Eric Decker. I mentioned some other. Chance Daly was on this team.
Yeah.
R.I.P. I love you, my guy.
Yeah.
Von Miller was on this team, even though he didn't play in this game.
So, yeah, we did Peyton Manning week 1 where he opened up the season with 7 touchdowns.
Stupid.
You know, we
which is crazy when you think about all of those stats. You scored an NFL record 606 points, and you only put up 3, or was it 8 points? What was the final score? 43-8, I think was the final in the Super Bowl.
43-8.
I mean, at halftime it was 22-0 or
Yep, 22-0.
The crazy thing, so there's a lot of things that I think that made this happen.
Divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
Serendipity.
What else? 1, 2, 3. So Peyton Manning, you got to tip your hat to him. I mean, for him to have the ability to adjust his game, this guy didn't have his feeling in his goddamn hand.
Yeah.
And he goes out and sets a record for 55 touchdowns. And then they just so happened to have to play the Super Bowl in cold New York, windy. Yeah, it was only 49 degrees, but that's still different than when you're playing in a dome or in Florida or at the Rose Bowl or in Arizona where your legs and everything's all lubed up because it's warm. You know what I mean?
Which is why he was pissed. This was the first outdoor game in a cold weather city.
Yeah.
Tough for him.
Tough.
And it was clear from that first snap that resulted in a safety, it was over. I remember because I work with Richard Sherman now, as you know.
Yeah.
Who's not my favorite. You are. And he was like, because we were working a Jets game there this year for the first ever Black Friday game. I'm just going to keep throwing plugs in for Amazon. That he was like, from the second that happened, I knew it was a wrap. From the first, I was like, we got him. And that was the first snap of the game.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into the game a little more. We'll set these, but this was a tough card to pull for, older.
But it could have been way worse. It was, as you mentioned, 49 degrees in New York City in
February.
Been way
worse.
It could have and should have been. Yeah, it should have been way worse.
43-8 wasn't terrible.
No, it couldn't have been worse.
That was pretty bad.
It could not.
There was to open up the second half. I think there was a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Percy
Harvin.
There we go.
But I got to give a shout out to my guy Decker had an insane season.
He has 9 kids now, doesn't he?
9?
Well, not really. Ferris Bueller's been absent 9 times.
9 times.
There's so many. It's just leading you on down a primrose path, Mrs. Bueller. Wake up and smell the roses. I love that movie. Any movie that has anything to do with Breakfast Club, that's a John Hughes movie, I'm in on. Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Christmas Vacation, John Hughes, big Chicago guy.
Big Chicago guy.
Yeah, hence why Ferris Bueller, the backdrop, was in Chicago.
Yeah, that's why I went to the Cubs game.
Exactly. And
But the guy's wearing a Red Wings jersey.
Yes,
Gordie Howe. It's Gordie Howe. Let's do trivia.
I did a flight. I had a flight with him recently.
Who? Gordie Howe? Because it couldn't be John Hughes. He passed
Was
away.
he
Rest in peace.
Cameron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let my Cameron go. Hey, can you think you could actually reverse the speedometer? Is that a real thing?
No, absolutely not.
Got it. Just asking.
My dad's
for
a mechanic. That's full wrong. That's the craziest
Fact
thing.
check.
But yeah, they had Decker. You know, Demaryius Thomas was an unbelievable football player. God rest his soul. You know, I had some time with him in New England, and he became one of my absolute most favorite teammates I ever got to. And we had a short span together.
Why?
He just was like, he was a professional. Like, he had a pedigree, and he came in to work, and he was a quiet guy. He would always, you know, talk when no one was really looking, but worked his ass off. You know, it was good at that point in my career. I was an older guy. He was an older guy. You know, it was cool to get to have someone you were familiar with that you respected on a huge level. To get to spend time with him. And then, you know, we ended up moving on from him. I think we had a training camp, maybe 2 weeks with him. And then he went to the Jets. And I remember I had our bye week. I had like this launch party for my Capsule with Joe's jeans.
Hence why you were on the list. Fashion.
This was a little late.
Not everyone gets a capsule collection with Joe's.
Yeah, this was like 19, but, you know, he came out and he had practice, you know, right from practice came and supported. And we had an unbelievable night. That was the last time I saw him. You know, but we would talk a bunch too. He was just a cool dude. You know, a guy that he could read the room. He knew how to like love up young guys that needed loving up.
Yeah, that's a gift to be able to be the guy that, you know, everyone needs in different ways.
100%.
And that's what I always think is great when you talk about coaching. And, you know, you're a parent, but, you know, every kid is different. Some kids need tough love. Some kids need
100%.
something different. Same for coaching. That's why I always look at whether it's the Belichicks or the Sabins of the world or any coach that you respect. I mean, Pete Carroll, it's, you know, or what Mike McDaniel's done with Tua down in Miami. It's like Brian Flores, that technique and that style of coaching didn't work for Tua. Yeah. And he was, you know, as talked about it, like broken, and having somebody come in and that positivity. So whatever tactic works, like I grew up with tough love, like that worked on me, like almost like fear factor kind of scare tactics. But that's, you know, everything is different. And that's what I think makes a great parent or great coach is like great knowing leader. What works. In different moments. Every
kid's different. You know, every person's different. You know, some guys need to be loved up. Some guys need to be, you know, slapped.
Yeah. I mean, we're not supposed to do that, but yeah.
Can you tell Mr. Edelman that? Can you tell Frank that? Okay. You know, you're in the car and you're messing with your sister, and you hear from, because we had the Suburban from in the way back. I'm in the way back, and you hear, you better stop it or I'm going to pull this car over.
By the way.
My dad was the guy that actually pulled the goddamn car over, okay? Chased me out of the car.
So was mine. And it went like
I learned.
Like
I stopped messing with my sister.
There you go. And you got this. You do that one more time, you're going to get it. And then you get it. I'll never forget. We came home, my brother and I were fighting, and we're 2 years apart. My dad left. He went to go jogging, and he goes, if I come back and you guys are still fighting, there's going to be a problem. And like when my dad, like to this day, if my dad even snaps, I'm like, like terrified. But he came back and we were still fighting. And I'll just say this. I got punished, and I peed through my Halloween costume. I was wearing this like clown costume. I peed through my Halloween costume, and I was like, well, what am I going to be for Halloween now? And so he's like, go upstairs and put on pajamas. And so I had to wear these pajamas, and I came back downstairs and I go, well, what am I? And he goes, in trouble. So he goes, I'll let you go trick-or-treating, but you tell people you're in trouble. So I'd ring the doorbell and they'd go, oh, what are you, little girl? I'm like, in trouble. That's what I was for Halloween. But I knew, like, I responded well to discipline, and I didn't do that again. So the second my dad would tell me not to do something, I'm like, okay, I wouldn't make that same mistake twice.
Old dads.
We love them.
Kyler, break down these Seattle Seahawks.
So the 2013 Seattle Seahawks, their record was 13-3. They won the NFC West. They were the one seed in the NFC. Head coach Pete Carroll, OC Darrell Bevell, and I don't know how to pronounce that.
Bevel.
Uh-huh. defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. Pro Bowlers were Cam Chancellor, Go Hokies, Marshawn Lynch, Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Max Unger, and Russell Wilson.
This is a Legion of Boom. These guys were, generational great. This is defense that'll be talked about in history.
Dan
we
Quinn.
play them the next year.
Yep.
And what made them so really good was their front four could get after the quarterback.
Yep.
And they played what everyone calls the Seattle Six. We used to call it the Seattle Six. It's this 3-deep zone where it's like a matched zone coverage where it gives freedom to the corners to have their eyes in the backfield because they'd have those linebackers shooting to the flat. And they were so good with it because everyone played on a wire together.
And they moved all in
They
tandem.
all moved in unison. They were well coached. They did their jobs very well at a high level. So anytime the ball was not where it had to be, it was picked, tipped, hit. Richard Sherman's taking it, taking a pick six is because of how well coached they were, how invested they were into the scheme. They had some ballers. This was an insane defense. Young Russell Wilson, knowing his game.
Well, and you also think about because that Russell was in his rookie year, so payroll wise, it's like you could go out and spend the money on the defense because he's getting league minimum is $875 or whatever it is at the time. It's like similar to what's happening with Brock Purdy, that when you don't have those $45 million a year quarterbacks, you can go out and spend the money on the defense. And like that defense, Cam Chancellor, what a beast that guy was, and like you said, those guys up front.
Which will be interesting for
Michael
Chicago.
Bennett, Cliff Averill.
Talking about current, it'll be interesting for Chicago, and that's one of the things they're going to have to evaluate if they're going to take Caleb or whatever, or they're going to trade Fields because, you're going to have to pay Fields regardless if you keep him in a year. So wouldn't you rather reset your quarterback pay clock with a rookie? So that'll be in 4 years, 5 years, with the new draft pick, whoever they pick going forward. So there's a whole lot of, other kind of thoughts just on performance for, Justin Fields and how he did this year, and it's more of the projection for the future of how you're going to design your team. You keep him, he's going to want a 3 in front of his, in front of that number.
Good old Ryan Poles. What are you going to do, buddy? Right?
We should, yeah.
That's why they get paid the big bucks.
He's 10 and 38 or something. He got 8 wins.
Do you like Justin Fields?
I think it's been a tough situation for him.
That's what I was.
But, if everyone... People are putting Caleb Williams in this conversation where you heard in the same category as, the Andrew Lucks of the world, the John Elways of the world, the Peyton Mannings of the world were like, he's a can't miss. So has Justin Fields done enough to make you not want to draft that? I don't think he has. Is he better than what he is? Probably. Yeah. Is the situation that he's been dealt with, having a bunch of different coaches terrible? Yeah. But, you got to, I don't know. I would go with a new quarterback.
It's a world we live in, too. We're talking the aforementioned conversation.
It's getting quicker and quicker, too.
Exactly.
This is the day and age.
But there's two... Whether it's the coaching or whether it's the players, and as the talent continues to get better, or that next crop of that draft class has the talent, then making those decisions. And again, they're decisions that, the Ryan Leafs of the world, you make that decision and your franchise is then stuck with something for a long time, or reputation or whatever it is. I mean, it's just, there's too much money in this thing to not get it right. But then at the same time, to your point about less need, you go out and you get those guys in the 4th or the 5th round, or the Purdys or the Julian Edelmans in the late rounds. And then you're it's kind of lottery numbers. Like, you can assess to a certain point, but who's to say that that's going to always come to fruition? It's not. If you knew, then you'd be a millionaire.
Well, the great teams always build from the draft. That's something you heard a lot from Belichick. We build our team through the draft. Not through free agents. You got to develop players. And that's another topic, where because owners and GMs are so quick with these coaches, you bring in a new coaching staff, the development that you had on the guys that coaching staff brought in, it kind of resets because there's a new, so it's an ongoing thing that's tough to find. That's why it's a crapshoot.
And bringing it back to on your second career now, when you talk about broadcasting and the consistency, because are at Fox or whether it's at Amazon or whatever, it is a locker room. And your executives are the coaches, right? Whether it's your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, your producer, your executive producer, your president of the company, like it is an organizational thing. So when you look at those guys on that set, and I've been at Fox now for the better part, I mean, in totality, probably 15 of my 19 years I've been at Fox, and it's like, those guys next door have been there now for 30 years. And there's something to be said about consistency, what you guys had in New England. And I think that's the part where I'm always like, I'm less finicky. I'll get rid of husbands quicker than I'll get rid of like teammates on, you know, shows that I work on, because I think I didn't like those guys, but I think it's important to like build that relationship and that it can't just be one and done, because they're, unless you just go, okay, like we messed up and like picked the wrong guy. Not the case with you.
No.
Something smells delicious. Who's cooking?
You know, in a couple minutes after we break down. Oh, did you get to see the Beastquake in 2010?
I wasn't there, but I know about it, of course. Where Marshawn Lynch caused an earthquake. How ridiculous that was. That was the 12s. The 12s, and that's the part that, like, what I loved so much about this group is that another reason why I picked the game, not to add insult to injury on your podcast, but that group, what they did for Seattle. I mean, think about it. Like the Sonics were gone. They got sold off, which they should have never left the city. It was a great basketball. I boycotted Starbucks for a long time because of it. Howard Schultz, you jerk. Should have never lost the team. The Mariners have had a lot of talent over the years and just can't put it all together. When you look at that team, like Griffey Edgar
girl?
Martinez.
Are you Griffey girl?
Of course.
Ichiro?
The kid, the best swing in the history of baseball. That swing was so nasty. And like we talked about our dads, like how much we love our dads. Imagine playing in a game where you hit a home run back to back with your dad. Not only are you on the same team, you hit back to back home runs with your father. Anyways, I digress to say the talent on that team, Randy Johnson, like they had so much talent on that team, and they didn't. Oh, that bird just getting lit up. And you know how much
you ever
I love
meet Ken Griffey?
Oh my God, of course. One of the best shows that I've ever worked on was the Best Damn Sports Show. Was my first national job with Fox. Yeah. Because I had been a Rockies reporter in obviously in Colorado, and I got called back to work on the Best Damn Sports Show and then start to do NFL sidelines. And I would work Monday through Friday, and I was so like, I loved that show. It was the convergence, like one of the first of its kind, the convergence of athletes and entertainers and musicians and everything.
I love that show. I love Tom Arnold.
Kruk.
Everyone make fun of Kruk.
Exactly.
John Sally,
Chris Rose. Oh my God, our production meetings with John Sally. The things, I mean, if a show could actually be a show, the things that he would say in these production meetings are crazy.
What?
I mean, stuff I can't afford another scandal.
I'm joking.
John Sally made me do it. No, it's so like his storytelling was, I mean, think about the teams that he was on in Detroit. My God. But it was a great show. And Ken Griffey Jr. used to come on that show. And I remember there's only two athletes that like I've ever, one is Michael Jordan, and I refuse to ever meet him. Like ever. Like what I used to drive to the Bacara. It's a hotel in Santa Barbara because I went to school in Santa Barbara, and he would host a basketball camp. And my guy friends that worked the valet there would call me when the black Range Rover pulled up. I was like, oh my God, he's there. And I would like lurk around in the bushes like a psycho, just like wanting to catch a glimpse of Michael Jordan. So then the first opportunity I ever had to interview him, I was working for the Big Ten Network. His son Jeffrey was playing for Illinois, and we're in Indianapolis, and they were like, you need to go up to the suite and interview Michael Jordan. And I was like, I can't do it. Larry Bird was with him too. And I was like, I can't do it. And they're like, what do you mean you can't do it? And I was like, I don't want to meet him. Like, I don't want to like know if he has bad breath, if he's mean to me. Like, I can't. Like, I need to put him on the shelf and like always have him be my favorite. So I won't interview him. And then I've never interviewed Griffey, but I did meet him only because he was on the show. Was that a long-winded answer for have you ever met Ken Griffey Jr.?
No.
Are you guys still with me? Take a breath, Carissa.
No, we're good.
I just love him so much.
Who doesn't? I mean, that I had his shoes.
How sad
I was a
it,
Barry
though?
guy. I like Barry better because I was from the Bay Area.
Of course.
But his shoes and his swing, I mean, it was legaledgendary.
Then
hitting a homer with his dad, that's got to be the coolest thing in the world.
When I play roulette, I still put, I always bet 5 numbers, 33 Bird, 23 Jordan, 21 Dion, 24 Griffey, and then 2 Jeter. So those are my like 5 go-tos, like no matter what.
Yeah, mine's 44 Tom Rathman, my dad.
Adorable.
21 Deion Sanders. That was like we used to all wear that, my brother and him. And now 11,
Yeah, those are your 3 go-tos.
Those are my 3 go-tos.
Yeah,
44 was like the number.
If I have to pick one number, and this happened to me actually, I was in Detroit over the weekend. There's a casino there, the MGM. Put one number, put a $25 chip as I'm walking out on 23. Boom, hits. Like, because to this day, I'm like, I have like a thing about it where I have to always, if I only get one number, it's his.
You know what Gronk's number is?
80. No, no. What's Gronk's number?
All he does is talk about 69.
80. Well, 80. No. I'm talking about, obviously on a roulette table, there's not 80. I'm thinking, what number did he wear?
He wore 87.
87.
But he always is, you know, he always talks
so
anytime
silly.
with anything 69. And the only reason I thought about that because I looked over at the thermostat, it says 69, so I thought about
He's
Gronk.
so
Well,
stupid.
to bring it back to the game, Malcolm Smith's, is that right?
He was the MVP.
Yes.
Yeah, the linebacker.
His interception, return for a touchdown, 69 yards.
69.
Oh, look at that. Not to be
Tyler.
confused with Malcolm Butler's interception on the goal line, which cost another Super Bowl the next year for the Seahawks.
Can't win them all.
They didn't. Either can you.
We didn't. Lost 2.
At that point, I think the Broncos had been to 7 Super Bowls at this point, and then the Seahawks had just been to 2. So it was a big, and they were the underdog in that
Who's
one.
your Mount Rushmore of Seattle athletes?
Brian Bosworth. Hee.
Boz.
Ken Griffey Jr., Brian Bosworth, Steve Largent.
Largy.
Love Steve Largent because my dad always loved that he
Godfather.
would give the official the ball. He would never do anything, but he scored a touchdown, number 80, boom,
Yeah.
just hand it
Act
off.
like you've been there.
Act like you've been there. Loved and he ended up being a congressman or something.
Yeah, he's like really successful.
Yeah. Who else? If I only get one more on my Mount Rushmore of Seattle athletes. Oh, I got to go Gary Payton.
Gary.
It's between Gary or Sean Kemp. And like,
I loved Gary Payton. He's from the Bay.
The glove, number 20.
Yeah.
That's another number. And I got to work with Gary. We did a show. No one watched it. It was on Fox Sports 1 called Fox Sports Live. It was the best show that no one ever watched. Every night from 8 to 11, me, Donovan McNabb, Gary Payton.
I think I watched that a
Gabe
couple
Kapler.
times.
So you were the one. Great. I was looking for someone that watched it. And it was 3 hours, and Andy Roddick would say the most ridiculous things, and no one would hear them. And I'm like, how are we not canceled? Well, no one was watching. But it was fantastic.
It was like before cancel.
I know everyone's canceled now. Boring. Not us, though. Not Games with Names.
Not yet.
What
at
a-
least.
Not yet.
What about
Let me wrap up the Seahawks defense.
Oh, sorry.
So
what about
Stay on
Ichiro?
task. No.
I like Ichiro.
No.
No.
You can be on yours.
So the Seattle defense, they allowed just 14.4 points per game, which is a record that stands till today.
That's insane.
They led the league in points allowed, 231, and yards allowed, 4,378, and takeaways, 39. They were the first team to lead all 3 categories since, drum roll,
85 Bears.
100% correct.
That's crazy. When you think about like how much would you love that as an offense when you know your defense at most is giving up 13.3 points per game?
I mean,
Most.
That's when Russ was cooking.
Like he didn't have to cook. He was baking. I mean, all he had to do was just like
Set it
score
and forget
2
it.
touchdowns.
Set it and forget
He
it.
scored 2 touchdowns. That was an easy bake. Betty Crocker easy
Bake oven.
He was like the difference of what he had to do, not taking anything away from Russell. But when you have a defense like that, he would like go to the store and get the pre-made stuff where you just have to put on the sheets and like put it in the oven. Like just score at 2 touchdowns.
So you're basically calling Russell Wilson a funfetti cake
No. He won. He got us
with
the Super
rainbow
Bowl.
chip
Got
frosting.
us the Super Bowl. So
That's
I
my
can't ever
favorite.
take that away. That was.
That's only
the ones with the
we just
frosting
made
in
them.
it.
Yeah, me and Lily just made it. Gave to our neighbors.
I just.
wanted to make
Oh, that's
cupcakes.
adorable! And you brought them over to the neighbors.
Yeah, it was her
Okay.
little scheme just because she wanted to do a dog date. So she's like, Dad, why don't we make cupcakes and go to the neighbor that has a dog?
That's adorable.
And we give her cupcakes.
Oh my
And we
gosh.
could bring Rocky.
That look, I like her train of thought.
Yeah.
Speaking of random neighbors ringing the doorbell, which by the way, I like love that you're doing that. Like that's even a thing
Yeah.
because no one even talks to their neighbors anymore and are weird.
No, my neighborhood is cool.
So my interior design company, James Conner, was one of my clients, and so I'm in Arizona. I have got like 3 weeks to get his place ready before he comes back for training camp, and I'm like there with all the workers. Like we're just doing our thing. The doorbell rings. It's Matt Prater. He's the neighbor. He was
That's
coming
Prater.
over, brought over a plate of cookies with his wife and his kids, which was so adorable. And I opened the door and I'm like, he had no idea who I was. I was like, I knew who he was. And I was like, hi. He's like, oh, we were just bringing these for James. He's our new neighbor. And I was like, that's adorable. Thank you. And like left him the cookies. But like, how sweet is that?
Why didn't you drop like, oh,
no, I was
cool
like,
in
remember that time you
hit
kicked a 64-yard field goal?
Serendipity.
And on that note, it is time
Kate
for the
Beckinsale,
Bounty Wingman question, Charissa.
Okay, I love it. What do we got?
It's time for the Bounty Wingman question. Bring out the wings, please.
Look at this, Declan. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Bounty is everyone's favorite wingman because you can't have football without wings and you can't have wings without Bounty, Charissa. So here you go.
You're right about that.
With this great.
This is exciting.
I'll give you
Thank
that.
you.
And
Can I have one?
we have a question for you, the Bounty Wingman question.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we should rename this because of Charissa. Should it be the Bounty Wing Woman?
Only if you emphasize woman like that again.
Woman? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So who's your wingman in your career?
Ooh,
in anything?
Great question. Who is my wing
And you can have a wing if you
wing
want.
woman in my career?
I'm hungry.
Terry Bradshaw.
TB.
From day one when I started working at Fox, which I started in the HR department, so that's maybe also why I know Terry. No, I'm kidding. He's been like a second father to me. He's been, he's Terry Bradshaw. So already you just go like, oh my God, like you're that guy. But he makes you, I don't need to tell you, you know him very well. Like he makes you feel like he's known you for 100 years. He would be the guy that would pick you up on the side of the highway at 2:00 in the morning if he heard the phone ring. But he's just always been there for me. And it makes me emotional thinking about my Terry because I just love him so much. He's my wingman.
Terry Bradshaw is the Brian Callahan. Callahan brakes pads of TV. This is a brake pad made by the everyday man for the everyday man.
Exactly.
And that's what Terry is. He's like he breaks everything down for everyday people.
100%. And you know what else I love about him? He's unapologetic about who he is.
Yeah.
He will mispronounce some names and he'll go, yeah, well, I'll remember it when they get good.
Yeah.
Like, it's just one of those things where his resume has supported, obviously he can say and do whatever he wants. But another reason that I love Fox is they let him say, and for the most part, do whatever he wants because he's just authentically himself. And I think the viewer at home, and we all know watching other sports, like who we like watching are the people that you'd want to hang out and have wings or a beer with. And that's Terry. But then not only do you want to hang out with him, you also know that he'd be there for you. He's just the best.
He really is. And
Yeah, good.
what you said, he makes you feel a certain way. He makes everyone feel special. Mm-hmm. We'll be getting ready for our show. We go on 8 Live. And Terry's just always coming in, and I'm like pregame, so I'm over here trying to go over all my things. Uncle Terry will come in, stumble on set, grab your arm, and and he's talking to the camera people. He's talking to everyone. Yep. Terry's a sweet man.
I'm so glad you just said that because when people will ask me early on in this like job for advice or whether it's women or men or whatever, and I say be nice to everyone. The cameraman, the audio person, the stage manager, those are people that are trying to make you look better. And they're people that show up every day and do their job. And so many times they're just overlooked. And and we can take the analogy further into sports, the equipment manager, the chef, the training staff, anyone.
Laundry people.
And it's like it all works. And I know this is not just some like cliche statement. It all works in the Bill Belichick do your job. They're doing their job to allow you guys to do your job. And I feel the same way holds true on the broadcasting side of things, which is another thing that it's very unique. And this is not some like Fox, PSA, but it's just the truth. Everyone wants to see the other people in the building succeed. And it's really special and it's really unique. And I have worked at other places and I know for a fact it's not always like that. So if you're able to catch the lightning in the bottle, whether that's with the Patriots and do what you guys did, or for us at Fox, to have that opportunity to not only do a job that's awesome, but with people that you genuinely like, it's really, really special.
Yeah, it is. And Fox definitely has that environment, and Terry's definitely the flag carrier of that environment. He's a special guy.
Yep.
Bounty and Wings, my favorite duo. And that was the Bounty Wingman question.
Great question.
Game lead up. Kyler set the stage. So we're basically got the best offense versus best defense. Historical, literally.
Yeah, and this game was the third coldest Super Bowl game in history.
Third.
Behind Super Bowl 6, Super Bowl 9. Both played at Tulane Stadium, interesting enough.
Where?
Tulane Stadium in Louisiana. Yeah, 39 and 36 degrees. Bizarre. Dallas won and Pittsburgh won. That's it for the lead up. We can go through. That's the major headlines
Some
for
dubbed
that.
it the Bong Bowl.
Huh?
Some dubbed this the Bong Bowl. First 2 states with recreational marijuana. Is that true?
Yep.
Colorado and Washington? I guess that would have been true.
I didn't even know.
Well, thank God I picked this as my game then for you.
So this game started off too with a Joe Namath.
Look at Joe Namath's jacket.
Chinchilla
Yes, throwback.
jacket.
I love Joe Namath.
He also false started the coin toss.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fan-frickin-tastic. Look at him. What a legend. Is that the same jacket that he wore when he...
Broadway Joe at home, baby.
We almost got him on the show.
I know, I remember.
This close. So this game notably started with the safety, which was the fastest scoring play in the history of Super Bowl, even faster than Hester's kick return for a touchdown against the Bears and the Colts.
Which, by the way, fun fact about that kickoff return for a touchdown in a Super Bowl, there was one in the national championship the year before. Ted Ginn Jr. It was the first time ever that a national championship and a Super Bowl started with a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Wow.
Ted Ginn.
Hell yeah.
Ted Ginn.
We used to train. We trained together over in Euclid, Ohio.
Really?
He would train because he's from this part of Cleveland. There's like a group of Cleveland kids that would train at this facility. I mean, everyone did it because he was fast.
Yeah. Well, can I guess the time that they scored?
Yeah, do it.
I want to let you let's do points
let's
for
see.
this. 12 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
You knew that.
I did. That's why I guessed it.
How about the time for the second half kick return for a touchdown with Percy Harvin?
12 seconds.
12 seconds.
I know because I know the reason
She's
I know
an analyst. It's cheating.
The reason why I know that is because it was both scores to start the game and to start the second half were the same time. Which, by the way, what are the chances of that happening? And that just showed the complete dominance of this game.
Yeah, you
by the Seattle Seahawks.
It clearly from off rip first play of the game, and you could see on the sideline that safety affected Peyton. He was pissed about that, and I think I read up on they were trying to go on a silent count and it missed, and it looked like it kind of stuck around for a while, and then Percy Harvin that second half.
How deflating is that? You go in at halftime. I mean, your guys' adjustments that you made at halftime, most notably, of course, the Falcons, the Atlanta game. Yeah. But you go in and make those adjustments, or you think you're making the adjustments, and then you come out as Denver and you're like, okay, it's been a crappy first half. We're down 22 points, but there's a whole second half here, boys. And then that happens. I'd be like, what?
And that's why it was a blowout.
That's demoralizing.
Yeah. I mean, Percy Harvin, he was a fucking ball player. That dude was so good.
I'm bummed that his, with all the head injuries and stuff like that, and the things that different things that happened to him. I was so bummed because he was. I mean, and
he was a lightning rod on the field.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
Game changer.
He almost scored on the first play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so notable plays, obviously the interception return for a touchdown, 69 yards by Malcolm Smith. There was an early interception by Cam Chancellor, but it was really just kind of a beatdown from the beginning. And we mentioned the kickoff
Wasn't
return.
That so cool to win MVP of a Super Bowl?
Yeah, it was pretty cool now. But at the time, you're just happy to win.
Yeah, I remember interviewing post-game because it was me, Dion, and LaDainian. You were up on set with us. And you were, obviously you were just taking in winning another Super Bowl. And I was like, that's so sick. You just won MVP of the Super Bowl. And you're like, I'm like, what? Check this guy's pulse.
Yeah, no, it's awesome now. I mean,
where's the ball? Do you have a...
It's right there. Oh, yes. That's... that was the first year you didn't get a car. I was sitting there thinking. Right after I heard, I was
Stop.
like, after because I remember there's always stories. Tom had got a Cadillac, and I remember Deion Branch got a car, and they'd always drive their Super Bowl cars every once in a while. Early in my career, not ever anymore, but I was like, yeah. Someone came and told me. Do I get a car?
Were you the first ever wide receiver to win MVP in a Super Bowl?
No. Deion Branch did.
Oh.
Jerry Rice.
Santonio Holmes, or did he do it?
Oh, maybe that Pittsburgh Arizona game where there's
a couple. Jerry did. Few. But
I was just trying to give you more credit.
Thanks,
You're welcome.
Krista. That's a good teammate right there.
So that was a great game.
That was a great game. Kyler?
Yep. Final score was 43. Hold on, my computer.
8.
43-8, and Malcolm Smith was named MVP.
Which is an interesting MVP, a linebacker.
It's like a team defense MVP
Yeah.
is what
Von
it
Miller
felt like.
got it next year. Oh, Vonnie.
No. 2 years.
In 2 years?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got it next
Yeah.
year.
Hard to keep track of all these Super Bowls.
Jesus. Well, you know,
Files his nails.
how did you celebrate this win? Was this?
I was in New
Were you
York.
fun? Was this fun for you? Like as a fan? Like were you that diehard of a fan?
Am I alone here? I have too much fun. That's the problem, is that I remember actually in that Arizona, the Cardinals-Steelers Super Bowl, I had so much fun the night before. Antonio Pierce, myself, Eddie George, all of us who worked for Best Damn Sports Show, which, by the way, Antonio Pierce, kudos to him. He's now the coach.
Is he got it?
It's going to be official, yeah.
Kudos to him.
I'm excited for him.
Former player, love it.
Does that mean Dola's still going to coach?
I don't know.
Get out of the Wynn Casino. Actually, don't. WynnBET. Stay there.
Yeah.
But Antonio deserves that. I'm really happy for him. But we had so much fun the night before as a group, all of us, that Antonio and Eddie were good teammates and made sure that I got back to my room and was not projectile vomiting in the lobby of the hotel. And I got in so much trouble the next day from my old boss. His name was George Greenberg, our executive producer at Best Damn Sports Show, that he made me sit next to all the executives during the Super Bowl. And I was not allowed to have a sip of alcohol.
Were you hungover?
Oh my God. Driving hungover, having to be sober and sitting surrounded by all of your bosses. I was like, go team, go. But yeah, I'm a good time. Too much of a good time, apparently.
Yeah, this was
So how did I celebrate this one?
Yeah.
We were in New York, and
that was a fun Super Bowl.
So fun.
I was there.
A lot of fun.
Where'd you go?
Oh my God, I don't remember.
You go to One Oak? Hit up One Oak?
You would go to One Oak.
One Oak?
I think Tao is still cool there. No.
You ended up at One Oak. No, I just you gonna miss Pete?
Yes, he was wonderful for the city. I'm bummed for him. I know that he still wanted to be there. And you could tell even by that press conference when you saw the guys like Gino and Jamal and Bobby sitting in the seats at that press conference and just looking really deflated. I mean, it was what we talked about. No one gets deflated. Okay, no one. No, I didn't know if there was a buzzword. Every time someone, by the way, it was completely unintentional. I just didn't know if every time you say it, it's like
Bill Nye was wrong.
Bill Nye from Seattle.
That's what
he did say. Go Seahawks
it's
after.
All comes back
of course.
Together.
That's why he's a bad scientist, because he's biased.
There you go.
Wow, he lost the integrity of the art, or should I say, the science.
Shall I say? But no, to answer your question in short form, I will miss Pete Carroll. He was great for the city. He was great for the team. And speaking to multiple players that worked or played for him, just made them better human beings and was always positive. In the words of Colin Cowherd, Pete Carroll wakes up and he high-fives the lamp. Yeah. He's like, let's go have a great day today. He is that guy, and I think that he will be missed, but whoever is his successor has big shoes to fill and a lot of gum to be had. That guy just loves him some gum. And here's the question, how is our jaw not breaking? And I used to work for the Rockies, and Clint Hurdle was the manager. He was another dude that his jaw was 10 times the size from just chewing gum all the time.
How about the New Orleans GM? Did you see that press conference?
Was it the same thing?
Did you guys see that press conference by the New Orleans GM? He's talking about, keeping
Mickey Loomis you're talking about?
Is it Mickey? He was sitting there. We're going to keep Bill Belichick. He had a little country accent. He was smacking his gum doing a press conference.
Wow.
I'm like, holy smokes.
That gum chewing is legendary in Seattle.
Maybe a little tip of the cap to Pete Carroll, because I think they work together. Maybe that's what it was.
Is that the connection?
Who do you think they're going to go with?
Dan Quinn.
You think Dan Quinn?
I
guess it's good, but
I want someone who came from the Pete Carroll, not coaching tree, but that same.
You want a defensive guy.
I want a defensive guy, and I want that culture.
What about Vrabel?
I don't know Vrabel.
Vrabel's a fucking good coach.
Do we want Vrabel?
Brings toughness.
Okay, then maybe I want Vrabel. I'm just sticking with
Doesn't Vrabel just look like a man?
Those vests are a thing too for him. He loves the vest. Remember Jim Tressel? He loved the sweater vest.
Oh yeah.
Mike Vrabel loves the zip-up vest.
He did.
Bill had the hoodie. Vrabel had the zip-up.
Hoodie cutoffs.
Hoodie cutoffs, yeah, of course.
Cut them off.
I don't know. I think whoever fills those shoes has big shoes to fill. I hate that phrase, but it applies here. And the only reason my vote would be for Dan Quinn is just because I know that city already would like open arms. Like,
yeah, man, this was awesome for Seattle. You know, especially losing, you know, the Supersonics. They haven't really had that much success with the Mariners, and people out there love sports.
It's one of the best sports cities that you can get in. And unfortunately, it was, you know, that run that they were on was cut short by you guys. But yeah, it was really memorable, and like still to this day, it's what that group of players did for the city, and Blue Friday and the 12th man and everything. It's like it definitely changed, and like we became a credible football city.
Did we miss anything on this game?
Well, you know, I could talk about this game forever, but I don't want to, you know, keep pouring salt in the wound of why you guys weren't there. But you know what? Look, is there any part of you that then roots, if you lose to a team and you're not in the Super Bowl because of that team, do you root for the other team? Like, were you rooting for Seattle in this game?
Yeah.
There you go. So you and I were both happy with the outcome of that game.
100%.
See, it's a win-win. Good teammate.
Teammates.
Thanks for having me, buddy. Games with Names.
Games with Names. You want to plug this ranch?
I just appreciate you wearing the hat.
I've worn it a couple times.
Well, I very much appreciate the support. Yes, and I love that. So all proceeds do go to support the animals that I'm going to continue to adopt and have already adopted on the ranch. I got cows, I got a horse, I got a pig, I got dogs. So thank you. You're the best.
I appreciate you, Dr. Doolittle.
All right, sophomore year, kid.
Sophomore year. Here
Let's
we go. Well, that was awesome.
She's great.
She's so knowledgeable.
It's always nice to have like a teammate here on the show.
But yeah. I'm telling you right now, she's a badass when it comes to talking ball. Like, she knows. Like, we'll be doing in pre-production meetings, she'll drop some shit. I'm like, damn, Carissa.
Well, she was watching. She was 5 years old.
Yeah.
She mentioned Barry Bosworth on her Mount Rushmore. We had a Bosworth episode to like, because we usually send a couple episodes if they have an option. And we had one. I was like, I don't know. That might be too like, you know, but now I wish I should have done it. So.
Nah, this was fun. You know, this was a great game, even though the score wasn't there. And speaking of score, we should probably score it. She had to dip because, you know, she got that cool party to go to.
Yeah.
But I did almost start crying when, you know, she's talking about dad stuff. That was cool, you know. Have that connection through sport with your daughter. You know, that's some good juicy stuff. I like that.
All right, I got a couple corrections here. This is the 6th Super Bowl we've done on Games with Names. Also, The Chronic came out December 15th, 1992. You said 91, it was 92. Also, talking about the Tonight Show, it went from Jay Leno to Conan O'Brien, back to Jay Leno for 4 years, and then to Jimmy Fallon. So we were all kind of wrong on that. Also, the Rams won the Super Bowl in 2022 for the 2021 season, not 2019. And Alan Ruck played Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Also, Connor Roy in Succession.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's name this thing.
He looked distinguished.
When
I saw him on the plane.
Really?
He had like a nice gray beard. I made eye contact with him. I was like, is that? He had no clue who I was.
He was awesome in Spin City, too. I liked him in Spin City.
Where's my guy? Rocky just got washed, everybody.
All right, let's name this game. We got a couple options.
All right, what's the name of this game?
Defense wins championship game. The Bong Bowl.
The Bong Bowl.
Blowout Bowl. New Jersey beatdown.
All right, Rocky. All right. No tongue. No tongue. No French kisses.
So what do you think?
What's up?
What do you think for the name of the game?
Probably
I kind of like the Bong Bowl.
The Bong Bowl?
It's the only thing that like invokes any sort of anything from this
I kind of want to give a little shout out to Jersey. The New Jersey beatdown. This is just called the Legion of Boom game.
Legion of Boom game. This is kind of the apex of that little mini.
This is Legion of Boom game, man. It's the 85 Bears.
They really are. Okay, let's score this thing.
Let's score the game. The stakes are high. I mean, this is number 1 offense versus number 1 defense. You got to give this a high. This has got to be like a 10, 9-9, 9-8.
It's a Super Bowl. I don't think there's any legacy at play here, which like I think makes it a higher score. But number 1 defense, number 1 offense. That's
historical defense.
Yeah.
Historical offense.
Yeah.
9-2.
9-2. That's fair.
Star power I mean, there's a bunch of Hall of Famers. You know, we
Future
got
Hall of
Broadway
Famers,
Joe
sure.
doing a bunch of stuff up there, messing up the toss. Star Power, you're in New York. First New York Super Bowl ever.
Phil Simms was on the coin toss. Also, Jennifer Garner was there. The Red Hot Chili Peppers. Bruno Mars did the halftime show. Jesse Palmer was there. Queen Latifah.
Everyone was there. I was at this. I was in New York for the game. Everyone was there. Star Power is high. We'll go 8-9.
How was Super Bowl in New York? Like from a...
I mean, I love New York. I like New York. That's all I'm going to say. New York's awesome.
What'd you say for Star Power?
8-9.
8-9?
8-9.
I think that's fair as well.
Gameplay 0.
Gameplay 0.
Nah.
You got to do a little bit more.
5, 4.
Like if it 4.
Dominant by the defense.
Yeah, if the Broncos held up their end,
yeah,
it would have been 8.
It was hard to get a name.
Not really.
With the Legion of Boom game.
Culturally too, like because sometimes we use name
6.
as like a doesn't really culture.
6.
6, fair. Let me do the
what
math.
Does it do the math? Around the 2, 5, 6, let me 1 second. Let me
Can you Gronk it?
No, I can't. I'm waiting on you to write it down so it makes it sound like I got it.
7.025.
7.025. 7.3. You know, I round. Where does it stack up?
That puts us tied with the 2001 national title Duke versus Arizona, just behind the 2014, same year, TBT final, Team Barstool versus the Notre Dame alumni, and just edged out the 2019 NFC wildcard double doink game.
Old double doinks.
That's a good spot for it.
Good spot.
Yeah. All right, so we got the hotline open. We got a couple people in here. The number is 424-291-2290. There's been some awesome stuff coming through, so keep it up. Ready for the first one?
Yo, what up, Jules? Big fan of the show, man. I got a question, man. I always wanted to know, do football players participate in fantasy football? Is it allowed? Do you guys do it? And if so, have you had a team? And what was your roster? Big fan. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Show's great. And thanks, brother.
Fantasy football. I'm sure. I mean, early in my career, my rookie year, I played with some high school friends. No money involved, and I basically drafted everyone on the Patriots and knew the intel of who was getting the game plan. And I think I had Hernandez and Welker and myself, and basically just rode that to the championship and won. No big deal. I'm on fantasy now. We have a Coast League. I currently lost. I came in second in the championship game. Let me go over. Let's see what my team's looking like.
I got it here too. My team was the best all year, and you sniped me in the playoffs.
Yeah, I had to take you off. I ended up with Justin Fields. I picked him up late because I had Tua. I had Burrow. Burrow got hurt. I drafted Tua as well. Tua was kind of getting shaky a little while. Justin Fields was eating people up with his legs and his arms. So I rode Justin Fields. Funny, we talked about I would probably draft another quarterback, but I had Justin Fields on my fantasy at the back end. Mike Evans, he always balls. He's always scoring touchdowns. Jamar Chase, ETN. Gibbs. At Gibbs. And then I had Mark Andrews. And then I picked up Likely and McBride. And I was going back and forth with them. And then I had Terry McLaurin. He kind of bailed on me at the end of the year, but he was a great pick all year. I picked up Joe Flacco. I wanted to see where he's at. I put him on my practice squad. I had Dobbs in Green Bay when everyone was hurt. He was kind of balling, so I sneak a couple points there. Sutton, I mean, I was kind of banged up, picked him up.
What was your team name?
My team name was Ernest Does Football.
I love those movies.
I like the Ernest too, but it was kind of like my last one was Ernie and the Addams Family, or
Yeah.
Annie. What was it?
Yeah, it was something Ernie Addams Family.
The Ernie Addams Family.
Yeah.
Ernie was, if I'm thinking like high level football, I think of Ernie. So that's my tip of the old ball cap to old Ernie and his big old glasses and his plaid jackets.
We got to get him on.
Ernie would be insane.
It'd be amazing. Just do like some 50s regular season game. Just talk about like Otto Graham.
He would tell you everything to know about it.
It'd be awesome.
He'd be breaking down like a 2nd and 8 of a game that Otto did, and I'm like, what the fuck? How do you remember this? Let's go to our next one. Good question.
Hi, so my name is Nathan Shepard. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So during that Super Bowl, during the Patriots and the Falcons, I'm a Patriots fan. Everyone in Atlanta hated me, and I spent all the time that year because all the Atlanta fans were saying, this is our year, we're going to win a Super Bowl. And me, quiet confidence, the only Patriots fan in the whole school, was making bets with everyone. I bet everyone $5, $10, $20. It got to the point where I had $400 in bets in I think I was in 10th grade. And every single person made sure that they paid me. And I made $400 in Atlanta off the Super Bowl. So I just want to say, Julian Edelman, you're my favorite player in the world. You made me so much money. Thank you so much for everything.
Well, as a WynnPart associate or WynnBET associate, we do not, look at underage gambling very well. But since I won you a couple shekels, why don't you send over some to the old nut house, buddy? No, that's awesome, man. Appreciate the call. I'm glad we got you a couple extra bucks in your pocket after that crazy Super Bowl. It's going to be pretty cool. Are you going to change fans? Are you going to change to become an Atlanta fan if Bill goes there? Question?
Great question.
What's the next question? Thank you for the question,
Nathan,
comment. I don't even know if there's a question there.
Nathan, hit us back up after Bill signs with the Falcons and see where your allegiances lie.
Let's see.
How's it going? I had a debate that I've had with my friends for about 10 years now. Who would win in a boxing match? Tim Tebow or LeBron James? We're both talking prime physical shape here for the both of them.
Wow, that's a good question. Tim Tebow or LeBron in a boxing match? I mean, Tebow, he's a fighter, man. I think you have to kill Tebow to win. But I could see him getting out of control. And LeBron's so long. He got so much length. And he's got that leverage strength. I don't know, man. It depends.
I got it. So Tim Tebow, 6'3", 236. LeBron, 6'9", 250. But he plays basketball. A little soft.
Nah, but what happened to Frank Gore and
It's true.
You know what I mean?
It's
Frank
true.
Gore.
Was it D. Williams?
Yeah.
That's true.
And Frank Gore's my guy. I don't know. I'm going. Tebow's got Jesus on his side, bro. He won a playoff game.
Isn't there a thing in boxing about like releasing your inner whatever, and like some guys hold it in for a while to build up that testosterone? So maybe Tim Tebow's got that like extra testosterone.
Oh, by not jacking off, not ejaculating.
Yeah, X Factor.
As Mick would say, the women make your legs weak. Rock, stay away from that girl. I don't know. I'm going with LeBron.
6 inches.
LeBron from Akron, right by Kent. Even though I hate Akron, I'm going LeBron with the length. And LeBron probably got a couple. LeBron got a trainer at the house somewhere doing a workout after a bottle of wine or before a bottle of wine to get a little workout in the offseason. LeBron's a big guy. Okay, I know you want to say football, basketball. No, LeBron
6'9", 250.
He got some hands, man.
And he played football in high school too.
Yeah, he was all state. Good question. That was a good question. I like those what ifs. Let's hear the next one.
Hey, Julian and the crew. I just had a quick question for the podcast. You grew up a 49ers fan, but obviously played for the Patriots. I didn't know. I just wanted to know, like, are you still a fan of the 49ers? Like, who do you root for during the season? Do you root for your former team? And I don't know if you could speak for other people that were in the league, but who do they root for? Do they continue to root for the people they grew up watching, or do they root for the team they played with? Thank you.
Great question. I always root for the Patriots because that's my team. That's what I am. But I do like seeing the 49ers. I've always kept an eye on the 49ers. I've always kept an eye, and I always wanted them to do well. Like in 13, or there was a year where we almost went and got to play them. I was like dreaming about it. That would have been an awesome experience for me. Going back to Santa Clara and playing there was like, that was the cool thing for me. I was 2,000 miles from home. I left the Bay Area at college and didn't go back. So like to get to go out and play in Santa Clara with, a lot of your high school friends and the people you played, you knew there was going to be people there that you played against. That was such a fun experience. And what a class act organization. I remember walking down the halls and, you always have the people that are working security, the people in the, that are part of the grounds of the stadiums that you go to. And, I'd walk in and everyone, was like, I remember a few people were like, welcome home, Mr. Edelman, and that, man, you're walking down, you see the pictures of Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Brent Jones, Tom Rathman, Ken Norton. Dang, that was cool. Nah, but a lot of guys, now I root for a lot of my friends that are either coaches or still playing, and that kind of developed when you went to college, where you kind of lost your fandom for a specific team. Yeah, you wanted to see your team do well, but then you had when I went to college, you start playing with guys that are playing on teams, and you always wanted to see them do well. So, short answer, I root for the Niners, unless they're playing the Pats. Well, what an episode! Thanks again to Charissa. That's been another episode of Games with Names presented by WynnBET. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Comment a game you want us to do, and remember,
rate and review. I'm not Jack. I'll never be Jack.
I mean, let's go, Bubs. Remember to follow Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. Leave a message on the hotline at 424-291-2290. We'll see you guys next week. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.